Last year, Aqara released their E1 curtain driver, and it had this incredible feature that moved the curtains in your home just a little bit at a time. It's a quick start-stop, and it keeps things really quiet and makes it so you don't really notice your curtains moving. I thought that was amazing, and it is. But SwitchBot just released the new Curtain 3 and absolutely blew that feature out of the water with their new Quiet Drift. The movement is nearly imperceptible. It's so low that my noise meter really couldn't pick it up unless I was right next to it. It's made opening up my curtains an absolute dream, and when combined with some of the other features that SwitchBot has added to this new Curtain 3, we have a new comparison to do between these two products. So today we'll be comparing the new Curtain 3 and Aqara's E1 curtain driver. I'll also delve a bit into the previous version of SwitchBot's curtain solution, so you know if you should upgrade. Hello Automators, thanks for tuning in again. I'm excited to show you the new SwitchBot Curtain 3 and compare it to what Aqara has done with the E1 curtain driver. Honestly, both of these products are excellent and they lead the DIY side of the industry in my opinion. So this is a fun comparison for me. Today's video will focus on the rod version of Curtain 3 because that's what I got. However, I've made a spreadsheet that compares all of the U and I rail versions of these products from Aqara and SwitchBot. You can get that at the link below. Oh, and I do have to mention, SwitchBot was kind enough to sponsor a giveaway with today's video as they launch this device, so stay tuned for some of the details on that. There's one detail about these slow movements, whether it's Quiet Drift or Aqara's version of it. Both of those companies will move at their standard performance speed if you're using them with other platforms like Google, Amazon, Apple, or SmartThings. Now that is the case unless you create a scene in their respective apps, so SwitchBot or Aqara's, and then that scene has to use that slow movement. Then those will synchronize with some of those platforms, and you'll be able to use that feature with that other platform. But let's go through the tale of the tape, which will lead us into a couple of really big differences between the products. Pricing is very similar, but the types of supported curtain rods are a little different, with SwitchBot having more compatibility right out of the box. You could get Aqara's system working with a lot of the other types, but it might take a little bit of work. For me, I couldn't personally use Aqara's system on both sides of my curtains in the kitchen because of two aspects that they really don't deal with. They don't deal with a telescopic rod that has a different diameter on both sides of it. And actually, they're a little more restrictive on the diameter itself. So I was able to use them on one side of my curtains, but not on the other side because it was just too skinny. Now, speaking of size, Aqara's version, it is a bit wider, and you might have to measure the distance between your rings or grommets because that can be a limitation. But what truly matters for many of you is the strength or the power of these two systems. And while the SwitchBot Curtain 2 had much lower ratings for the weight of your curtains, SwitchBot's V3 now holds the lead when compared to Aqara. This is because of the motors, and I think it's because SwitchBot's really refined some of their power-related design here. And that's a big component to the comparison today because Quiet Drift isn't just indicative of a really slick marketing team who came up with a good name. They did, but the way that it's done is very professional. I say that because when we talk about motors, a motor that can drive at variable frequencies or variable speeds is much more complex to do, but often saves significantly on power. It can also save on wear and tear, and you can actually see that in their specifications when SwitchBot tells us that they expect most of this device to last over 10 years versus the 5 years that they were giving us on the previous generation. So what you'll notice is that Curtain 3 slowly ramps up to its speed, which draws down how much current is being pulled in and effectively lowers the size of battery they use in the design. That's why Aqara's device is doing a start-stop method when it travels slow across the rod, because they aren't doing a variable speed design. All of this translates to a little nicer ramp up when SwitchBot starts moving, and it does lower how much noise they make versus Aqara. But in the same breath, the method that SwitchBot has always used for connecting physically to the curtain rod is very different than what Aqara is doing. The top hat that Aqara is using does give them a little bit less compatibility with those tab-based curtains, but it does create a more consistent connection to the curtain rod, and it does make them really accurate in terms of their movement, and more importantly, where they end their movement. SwitchBot has dealt with this little bit of inaccuracy by giving you some magnetic stickers that don't show up very much, and I think you can even cut them down, but they sit at the middle or the end points of your curtain's movement, and then they are sensed as the end point, and the curtain stops every time perfectly. This solution fixes an issue that existed with the second generation, but it does add something to your curtain rod. Now, the other thing that this design difference does is it affects curved installations. I don't have a curved curtain rod, but even when testing the second generation from SwitchBot, it was able to go around pretty quick curves, and I could even twist the track sometimes. With the top hat design from Aqara, it's just not going to be possible to go around as tight of curves. Now, there's another big difference in connectivity. My personal experience with the two technologies being used is that Bluetooth is a little less reliable and a little slower to respond versus Zigbee. However, when Zigbee fails, you don't have a backup, and that's one of the things with the system that SwitchBot is using. See, the backup becomes your phone versus Zigbee, where you gotta figure out what's going on with your network or your hub, and usually you don't have a lot of tools. Still, for me, I'm gonna prefer Zigbee for home automation in most cases, and it does open up other options for potentially connecting to other hubs in the future. Now, we talked about the power situation, and Aqara's batteries leave it lasting about a year. And in fact, I've only had to charge it once since I got them. And I do a lot of testing, but that's where an accessory that does raise the price of SwitchBot changes that part of your decision. Now, this new version of SwitchBot's solar panel has a little clip that keeps it attached to your curtain device. And because it has a stiff arm design and a button on it, we can orient it in a couple of ways. What this means is it no longer swings when you're moving your curtains, and it's no longer having to be affixed to your curtains. For me, this older panel left a shadow where the solar panel was, and I no longer have it. Plus, with the new version, it's just contained in a good spot. And I say it's in a good spot because I can optimize the location a little bit for the sun, or where those solar panels are going to get the best charge. And there's even a software feature that helps you place those panels in the right spot during the day. But sadly, Aqara doesn't have a solar panel to sell you, and while you could use something like a power bank attached to their version, there are a lot of nuances that make that a difficult installation, like for example the cable. Now, on launch day, SwitchBot doesn't have a feature on Curtain 3 that I found very useful on Curtain 2, but I have confirmed with them that it will show up. Aqara has a light sensor on their curtain device, and that means it can open and close your curtains based on the light level. Now, the basic feature in Aqara's app in relation to this is pretty weak. That's because it just says when the ambient light is detected to be too bright, you can move the curtain to a certain spot. Then you can set a time frame for when that happens. So there's not like control based on the exact lighting level. But Curtain 2 and their respective solar panels let you set 2 automations based on the brightness being sensed by those. This meant you could keep your home at a more consistent light level, and that feature has helped me with temperature management around my home. It's not there when we talk about the Curtain 3 interface today, and you should never buy based on promises, but it should be there soon. But I do have to talk a little more about connectivity when we compare these two, because connectivity isn't just the communication technology being used. In a smart home, that branches out much further to what you can do with it and where you can do those things. Now, because SwitchBot is Bluetooth, you don't actually need a hub. You could always just use your phone to control these. Whereas Aqara is always gonna require their hub. In the end, you're gonna want the hub anyways. So that's not a big deal to a lot of people, but that does mean if your hub ever fails, you would have that phone backup with SwitchBot. But both of these companies have pretty good integration with Google and Amazon voice assistants. But things start to change when we talk about other platforms. Now, Aqara has a native integration with Apple HomeKit, and that makes all of their control very fast and very good with Apple's products. Aqara is also a little ahead when it comes to their automation engine and their offerings when it comes to sensors. But the gap in that area has closed in the last year with both SwitchBot and Aqara's apps having pretty similar options and features. But both of these companies have worked really hard on what is called the Matter Bridge feature. Now, Matter is that smart home standard that's supposed to allow the smart home industry to get to this ubiquitous place where if a device has the logo, you know it'll work with the rest of your home. That's not the case right now, but the Matter Bridge feature does mean that SwitchBot can be used with Apple HomeKit, and both of these companies in the near future will be able to be used with Samsung SmartThings. Now, this will extend to other systems too, as more companies complete the work needed to support Matter bridges, which is what is in the hubs from these two companies. If you want to learn more about what a Matter bridge is and how Matter works, there's a link up there right now where you can go and learn about that. But just suffice it to say that it's going to help with connectivity and make our charts for compatibility look very similar. In terms of accessories, there's both what you get in the box when you buy one of these, and then there are the accessories that you can use with these products that make them really convenient or highly automated. But the accessories that come with Curtain 3's rod version is as follows: 3 alligator clips, a bead fixer, that magnet sticker, a telescopic rod sticker, a USB-C charging cable, a wet wipe, and a reset tool. With Aqara, you get 8 alligator clips, a rubber strip for grommet installations, and a USB-C cable. Now, the track versions of these products come with a lot less, and that's because they don't need the stickers and the extra clips and things. But those stickers will bother some people, and the good news is I peeled off that telescopic sticker and the Curtain 3 went right over that point in my curtain rod without any trouble. I don't think most people are gonna need that one, and SwitchBot has said they're creating a rod upgrade solution, so stay tuned for that. The magnetic stickers will change some of that accuracy that I've talked about, but as long as you have that middle point that blocks the path of your curtain drivers, you shouldn't have any problem without those stickers. But it's those outside accessories that give us some automation ideas for working with these products. So here's a few for you. With SwitchBot, the new upgraded remote has a nice little seat to sit in and sticks to whatever surface you'd like with its 3M tape. I stuck that on my fridge next to a bunch of other buttons, and that's an easy open close control. The same can be said for Aqara's mini wireless switch, but it could actually do 3 positions because it has a press, a double press, and a hold function. But more fun, and I think a better controller, would be an Aqara T1 Cube Pro, because the 6 different sides could represent a different percentage of open. So as you flip the cube, the curtain moves along the track in small increments. Now, one of the things I like about what SwitchBot has done with their new Hub 2 is that it has a temperature sensor on it and a humidity sensor actually. It also has a couple of buttons on it. So if you buy hub 2 to be the hub for your curtains, you can use all of those in your automations. They also sell an outdoor temperature and humidity sensor. So this creates a couple of really easy automations that can help to control the temperature in your home. If it's hot outside and it's getting hot in your place, close the curtains. If it's cold outside and it's getting cold in your place, hey, do it again, close the curtains. Now the buttons on Hub 2 also mean that you wouldn't have to buy a separate remote, and I like that feature. Aqara can do a fairly similar thing because they have a weather automation starter in their app that allows you to set an outdoor temperature or even outdoor conditions like cloudy, sunny, or even things like rain to start an automation and to control your curtains. Also, I think Aqara has a really convenient automation option if you have their G3 camera hub. Not only is that a Zigbee hub for your curtains, it's also a security camera that can be used with HomeKit Secure Video, and it allows you to start automations using gestures. So I can make the finger gun at it and have the curtains move. It can also do facial recognition, so the curtains can move just based on me entering into the space and looking at it. Otherwise, I think you're mostly gonna control these based on the lighting level or the time of day. And for my money, I'm gonna purchase the Curtain Rod 3. I don't mind the little magnetic stickers personally, and I will cut them down over time. So for me, that's the one I'm gonna pick up. And if you want to pick up some yourself, there are links below. I always have a personal discount code that you can use when you buy from SwitchBot's site, or you can buy them from Amazon. But I did mention a giveaway. So if you want to win a set of these and a hub from SwitchBot, then you can enter into our giveaway in partnership with them. Read those terms and conditions as always, but I'm not doing anything with your data and I don't want anything except to give away a set of these to someone who really wants them. Now, our other comparison reviews of things like light strips, video doorbells, smart speakers, sensors, and more are in the videos that are up on screen there. Check that out so you know what you're buying and you buy the right gadget the first time. Otherwise, thanks for watching today, and of course, don't hate, automate.